Okay, I am going to need your full attention for this part because this is the most important part. Let's learn how to find those credible databases from the library's webpage. So the first thing you're going to do is get back to your desktop if you haven't done so already, and I hope you have. We're going to click on LHS Library, and the website's going to open up. Sometimes it opens up with the sidebar on the left, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, you're going to go ahead and click that hamburger. I don't know why they call it a hamburger. It looks like 3 lines to me, but to each his own. So we'll click on that hamburger and we're going to go to databases and credible resources. So if we scroll down, here are actually all the databases and credible resources. Feel free to venture out on your own and use different ones from the ones that we are covering. If your topic's science-based, science and context might work for you, for example. I've chosen the ones I believe will be the best for everyone. I've made this super easy for your class. I put all of your resources in a nice, neat section called the Claim Game. Ninth grade interactive English research project, proof and evidence, because that's what we're searching for, proof and evidence. So the first thing we're going to do is look for books. So I'm going to go ahead and click on books in the LHS library. Now the catalog will open up right here, and it's fine. You can use the catalog from right there. I like to scroll down a little bit and open the catalog in a new window just because it's a little bit easier to see. For books, I'm going to go ahead and use the search term bullying. Once I click on bullying, you can see that there are 47 resources available. Some are videos, some are ebooks, and some are physical books that we own here in the library. If you see one that you think might fit your topic, like bullying at school, what we know and what we can do, the call number is right here. All of the shelves are clearly marked with the call numbers. All you have to do is follow the numbers. But if you can't seem to find it, please call me or Mrs. Hoots and we would be more than happy to help you locate the book. You can also see in the left-hand corner if it's in or if it's already checked out. And you can go ahead and click on the book if you want to read a little bit more information about it to make sure it fits your topic. Okay, and really, that's all there is to searching for books in the library. Pretty easy. So you just keep kind of scrolling until you find something that you think's gonna meet your needs. Okay, now let's take a look at opposing viewpoints. So I'm gonna go back to the library's webpage over here, and I'm gonna go back to the section that I made just for our class right now. Opposing Viewpoints is my favorite database. I love opposing viewpoints because it gives both sides. There's no better way to prepare for an argument than by knowing what your opponent is going to say. It's important to understand both sides of an argument in order to fully understand and make a conclusion. So let's take a look. One of the things you can do is click Browse Topics. If your topic's here, grab it. You're also going to get what I call the whole kit and caboodle page if your topic's here. If it's not, that's still okay. You're going to get information. You're just not going to get as much information as someone who chose a more popular topic. Also, if you sign in up here with Google, there's all sorts of neat little tricks you can do with this database. However, for today, learning all those little tricks isn't part of our assignment. But as you go through high school, they can definitely come in handy. I'm not going to go through those now, but I did want to let you know that they're there. So we said that we're going to use school dress code as our sample search term. Obviously, you're going to use your own, but for the sake of us kind of all looking together, I'm going to go ahead and type in school dress code. I recommend grabbing what they suggest because even the tiniest little difference in spelling or the way you word it can make a difference. And in this case, the difference between code and codes, for whatever reason, will make a difference. So I'm just going to click where it says school dress codes. Okay, this is our main page. And what I need to point out here is that this is not one source. This is hundreds of separate sources housed on one page. My recommendation to you is to always start with the introductory paragraph. So what you're going to do is click on Read More. That's going to give you sort of a comprehensive overview of your topic. If you decide that you're going to use this, I recommend using the citation tools. Now, if you logged in with Google, like I said, you can highlight it, you can email it to yourself, you can save it to a folder, you can share it, and do all kinds of neat little tricks. But like I said, we are just focusing on research. We're not focusing on the tricks today. So if you read through this article and you definitely find some information that you can use, if you click on citation tools, here's your citation in MLA format. And you can copy and paste that and save it somewhere so that when it comes time, you can get back to the article, because the title of your article is right here. And this one was called just School Dress Codes. You can also find your citation to the article at the very bottom. So either way you want to do it. But for now, I recommend organizing and saving your articles that you might use in that way. Okay, once you've familiarized yourself with the topic, we're going to dig a little deeper. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that whole kit and caboodle page and show you everything that we have here. We have 5 featured viewpoints. Should schools have dress codes? Dress codes that restrict natural hairstyles harm black students. The battle over dress codes, and shoulder shaming girls at Utah High School. Why the big cover up? Strict school dress codes have gone beyond safety. If you think you might want to use any of these, like if your topic is directed at dress codes for girls are stricter than those for boys, this might be a good article for you. If you want to save it so you can get back to it later, use the citation tool or scroll down to the very same citation. Either way you want to do it. But you don't want to lose your articles. If you try to copy and paste from this address bar, it will not work. Let me restate that. If you copy and paste from the address bar up here, it will not work. The reason being is because we pay for this database and they don't want their information getting out there for free. You could bookmark it if you want to, but again, I am strongly recommending that to sort of gather these that you're using your citation tools. But when we get to the end, you are only going to put these MLA citations in your works cited list from the ones that you actually ended up using. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Okay, so as we're still digging in a little deeper, I'm going to go ahead and go back. So we had those 5 featured viewpoints. There's 2 additional viewpoints over here. We have reference material for articles from reference. We have an image that you are free to use without worrying about copyright. We have 137 news articles about dress codes in the schools. We have 3 audio clips, 52 magazine articles, some statistics, and 3 web pages that have already passed the CRAP test. When you do a random Google search, you have to put the web page through the CRAP test yourself. We're going to talk about that later as well. Okay, let me stress, finally, you are actually finding information in these articles. If you didn't find usable information in the article, you aren't citing it or saving it. That doesn't even make sense. This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see students make when we do this project that absolutely blows my mind. If I were baking a cake, so this is my analogy for you. If I were baking a cake, I'd buy sugar, flour, eggs, butter, and some baking powder. I would not buy sardines, pickles, and hot dogs. Just like for your cake, if you don't need it, don't buy it and pretend you're using it. If you don't use the information, don't cite the information. If you bring me a finished product and then say, I'm done, I need 3 sources. Nope, that's not how it works. You failed the project. If you finish the project and then you say you need sources, obviously you didn't get any of that information from the sources since your project is complete. If this doesn't make sense, please ask me about this again after the video so we can talk about this a little more in depth, because this is one of the mistakes that I see that I do not want to see repeated this year. Okay, so this is opposing viewpoints. Let's go on back to the library's webpage where we have your little section for your class, and let's talk about Explora. It used to be called a basic Inspire search, so forgive me if I still call it that. Okay, this is why I want you guys to use me for help. Please let me help you with your search terms as you search, because sometimes these are just little tricks that you're not going to know. For this one, it just happens to be that school dress code works better as a search term than student dress code. I don't know why, it just does. So if I type in school dress code, I'm going to take this off for a second just to show you, but we're going to go back to it. Okay, so if I'm just starting fresh, I get 1,330 articles about the school dress code. Some of these you'd have to pay for, like if you were writing a paper for college, but 1,330 articles is more than enough. So we're going to limit it to full text so that you don't waste your time going through articles that aren't actually there. And that brings us to 781. Still more than you would need for this project. The thing that I like about Explora is that it always starts with a research starter. It's sort of like that introductory paragraph we talked about in opposing viewpoints. So I would say always start there to kind of just get your overview. After going through the article, if you find information that you think you might use, go ahead and grab that citation. And in this case, it's over here on the right. So we'd click on it. This actually gives, there's more to citing papers when you get to college than just MLA format, and you'll find that out. But for high school, we are using MLA, so that is the one that you would grab. And something else that I wanted to point out, if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, here are all the resources that they use to write their article. So you actually might find an article or a book that you feel fits your topic, and you might want to try to find that as well. So really, Explora is a wealth of information. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my back button, and you really have to dig. Don't be lazy. You're a researcher for this project. You're on a mission to find evidence and proof. And there's 781 articles. So don't just stop at the first 3. Look, you're just going to go through pages and pages. Really dig. You're a researcher. Like I said, let's act like a researcher as we go through this project. Okay, so those are the ins and outs of how to use opposing viewpoints, Explora, and how to find library books. So, for the end of this presentation, let's take a look at the steps we will need to do when we do a random Google search.